הלו.
היי. אוקיי, עשיתי הזמנה לכמה אנשים.
אז אני מזמינה, אני רק מעתיקה את ה-URL למעלה ושמה בפרופיל שלי, נכון?
אני חושבת שאני אעשה פאבליש.
ואז אני לוקחת את ה-URL מהפרופיל?
כן, אני אגיד לך, אל תדאגי. מישהו שם שאלה?
כבר רואים את זה?
עוד לא. ושלוש, אני אגיד לך כשאני עושה את זה. למצוא את השאלות.
אני אקח מאצלך ואני אעשה share לאצלי פשוט.
כן, כן.
המצלמה שלי blurry משום מה.
כן, קצת.
אולי זה מלוכלך. טוב, אין לי איך לנקות את זה עכשיו. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Yay.
Nice to see you. You're looking marvelous, ladies.
Thank you. We're like exchanging hats.
I guess I better go get a hat.
Yeah, it's going to be a hat interview. We've got lots of
Okay. I shall be right back.
Okay.
Hat.
That's awesome. ואם למישהו חסר, שישים את זה.
I would get people doing costume stuff on these hangouts.
Okay, got this.
So is it public?
עוד לא. אני אגיד לך, מאמי, אל תדאגי.
אוקיי.
לא, אני פשוט הזמנתי את כל הזה. תראי אם את יכולה גם כן, נו.
אז תגידי לי מה לעשות.
את יכולה גם, את לא יכולה להזמין, כי זה רק שלי.
זה רק שלך.
רק שלי. תראי, זה שוונצים.
חמוד.
כן.
זה מוסיף, זה מוסיף. רגע, יש לי פה יותר מדי שיער בפנים.
אוקיי, אנחנו רק נחכה עוד 3 דקות.
בעיה, אחר כך שאני מורידה את הכובע.
הוא הזמין אותי להנגאוט הזאת שלו, להיות אחד הפאנליסטים. מה אני יודעת על זה? הוא אומר לי, את צריכה לבוא בגלל נו, אני צריכה חתיכות מסביבי.
Okay, not the one I wanted, but this will have to do. Oh, God.
You know that like in the apps you have like all these hats also? Like,
Yeah.
I'll be a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
Oh, I love your hat. The pink, that's cool.
Hat on a hat?
Hat on a hat.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
I like your hat on a hat.
I'm the hat lady. Every time my hair doesn't look good, there's a hat.
Well, I was trying to find one of my good hats, but I had my husband put them so high in the cupboard, I can't reach. And there's nobody here but me and the fur kids, so I'm out of luck.
This is how it's doing. Hey, Elaine, what's a good time for these hangouts for you?
Probably an hour earlier than this.
Okay.
Because I'm normally meeting with my, I have a new business partner in Colorado. So we normally meet, it's currently 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Or daylight, whatever Eastern Time. Is usually 4 to 6 is when I meet with them. And pardon the way I look today, my God. I'm Shira wouldn't know, but I'm still recovering from being ill for a while, so not quite myself.
I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I'm definitely on the mend. So. How you liking the new changes?
I love them actually.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I'm just inviting people to see.
I just lost my... Okay, that's better.
I like the new Hangout stuff, like the way it's been done. It's really cool.
What's new about the Hangouts?
Because now you can see like public Hangouts. You have like the difference between watch and join. So like you see where all the on airs are happening.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would that I found frustrating with that is that there isn't like one line of description that tells you what the Hangout is about. You know, so it's sort of like I see all these Hangouts happening, and I'm like, well, should I join? I don't even know who this person is. Maybe if there were like, you know, like a tagline.
But quite often people don't give it a tagline.
I just did.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually
okay, let's go live. I'm going to start the broadcast.
So tell me what to share to my profile, because I have people waiting to see it.
Okay. So right now it's live. If you go to my profile, hi Nick. If you go to my profile, you can just share that.
Okay.
Okay.
Just make sure you share the public one. So you can copy the link from the top of this Hangout.
Here, I just share it. Oh, this is 4 people hung out?
No, the one that says public.
Yeah, it has to be the public one.
So if you go to my...
I do see it. Yeah, I do see it. Hang on, let me share it.
And share that on your screen.
I'm having a problem with some of the scripts on the page. You thought if I disappear, I will try and get back.
Okay.
All right, I shared it.
Randy and Nick, hi.
Hi.
Come on, don't die on me.
Hi, Eva.
We are hat day, so you guys, if you don't have hats, you can take one from the application. Just put it on your head.
Yeah. So go back to my hat.
Something like this, a hat on a hat.
Oh, that could be cool.
But if not, you can join us there. Hey, Paul, nice.
Oh, I like that, Paul. That's like a pirate hat.
Wow. That's a definite R. Billy.
My nephew and my niece gave this to me when they went to Disney World. They brought it back for me, so.
Very cool.
It's awesome. Okay, let's get started. For recording purposes, everybody please mute your mics, and I'll get started. Hi everyone, this is Ifat, your G+GoTo Gal, and today on our What's Your Story is Shira Gal, and she is the online marketing guru. Did I say it right, Shira?
The internet marketing guru, the no-hype guru of doing.
And so tell us a little bit first, how do you come up with your name, with this name? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to where you are today. Awesome.
Well, I don't know how far back you want to go, so I'll start from where we are now and sort of troll back a little to what I think maybe people will find interesting, because I've had anything but your standard sort of growing up and life maybe. So I'm the Internet Marketing Guru, which is my Good Karma blog, which I created 2 years ago when there was an explosion of gurus on the internet that were selling a lot of hyped up courses. One of them got me banned from AdWords for life. And when that happened, I decided to strike back, and I created the Guru avatar and basically started to really help people to do stuff and to accomplish things with a real focus on internet marketing promotion and SEO campaigns. And later on, I got into publishing, having had several books that I had on my hard drive that I wanted to publish but never had the guts to publish. And then I decided to go into nonfiction publishing and started my publishing journey with Kindle and Amazon. And we'll talk a little bit later about that. Maybe people are interested in that. But basically, I married my internet marketing and SEO with Amazon, which is a really powerful platform. And I found my new sweet spot, which I love, which really I find myself having more purpose and, you know, fulfilling my dream and helping more people and really getting more people to access everything that they're doing, that I'm doing, and get more of a communication going. So it's been a really exciting year. Hey, Margie, I see you just hopped on. Cool. So what I'm about, I actually live in Israel, and I'm also American. And I grew up mostly not in Israel, actually, because my whole life I've been traveling all around the world. I've lived in a lot of places because my dad is a really, I never say this, the first time probably saying this publicly, he's a world-renowned physicist. So I've always sort of grown up where he was globetrotting. So I've lived as a child, I've lived in Vancouver in Canada, which is one of the most beautiful cities in the world other than Jerusalem. But I love Vancouver. I just love it. I have lots of friends there. And I love Canada as well. And I grew up in New York. I've lived in Long Island. I've lived in lots and lots of places. I've been all kinds of places. And when I graduated the Army, being Israeli, I was also in the military. The first job that I took was actually in the high-tech industry, and I took a job that allowed me to travel all over the world because I love traveling so much, and I'm probably addicted to travel more than anything else. And that first summer that I was in the Army was the first summer that I was actually in Israel in the summer, and I was like, oh my God, it's so hot here, because I had never been home for the summer. I'd always been traveling abroad. So basically, I took a job and I began my professional journey after I finished university with a biology degree. The internet was exploding, high-tech was exploding, and I actually went and learned to program, which I'm glad I did because I know I never want to be a programmer. And my sincere sympathies to anyone out there who's a programmer. I admire you, but just I don't have the patience to do that. So I actually learned to program a whole Explorer system in Linux for my end project, and then I basically never saw Red Hat again. And what I did, though, was I joined this company that was doing telecom management systems, very big ones for big clients like AT&T and Quest and lots of big clients like that. And I was traveling all over the world, and the first training that I gave, and this is something I don't think many people know, was in the World Trade II tower on the 81st floor in a client's venue. And I had a sprained ankle, and they made me climb up on this table so that everyone could see me. And the table was, of course, propped on the window, and I've got a fear of heights. So imagine that on the 81st floor, and you can just see all of New York. You know, it's not there anymore, but it was totally cool. And so that was the first training that I gave, and so I figured, you know what, if I had the guts to do that, I could probably do just about anything. And I stayed with that job for a couple of years. I really went all around the world on their pay, which was really cool. And so I've been to, I've been to a lot of places, and I've worked with a lot of people. And I think that that's what I enjoy most, and what I really wanted to bring with me online was that diversity of having worked in a lot of countries, including Europe, the U.S., but also I've been to the Far East. I've done business in Singapore, which is extremely interesting, and in Thailand, and I even then after high-tech went back to my biology roots, and I actually worked in a medical device company where I got to travel, of course, to India and to Romania and to all kinds of crazy countries doing clinical trials. So I've had kind of a weird work experience. And I think
and then the first thing that jumped to my mind, I know you're a mother with 10-year-olds. Is that right?
I have 2 kids and a dog. My dog is 13, so he's my oldest. My oldest daughter is 12. She's going to be 12 in September. And my youngest daughter just turned 9. So
how do you get to travel all these years with 2 kids?
You know, that's a really good question, and I'm so glad that you asked that, because I really, if anyone can take this from my life experience, then, my work is done on this earth. And there's a reason why my motto in life is just do it. And to be honest, when I had my kids, I sort of thought, oh, I'm never going to travel again. There were all these places I wanted to go and I never got to see. And you know what? I went back to work and I traveled a lot after I had my kids. And I remember that first time, really, after that, when I had to make my travel arrangements, and I had to buy a plane ticket. And just making that phone call and making that reservation, that was one of the happiest moments of my life, because I sort of like, oh, it's just that simple. You just call up and you make a reservation and, hop on a plane. So just do it. You can do anything. Kids are not, don't hold you back. They love the gifts, and, give them pictures of these gorgeous places that you go to, and they've got something else to learn about. So,
did you ever get to travel with the kids?
I have traveled with the kids. I can't say that's like my favorite experience, because I am sort of a loner. I enjoy traveling without my kids just because I like to I'm a very adventurous person. But I did like traveling with my kids, especially. I took them to Paris, and I took them to Geneva. And the first time I actually took them abroad was on a tiny 6-seater plane to Cyprus, because I had these weekend plans and they fell through, and I was very upset. And one of my friends who's a pilot said, hey, let's just go over to Cyprus. So we actually headed on over to Cyprus with the kids, and that was nuts. That was just crazy.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
So did you start your own company, right?
I did, yeah. I actually have a U.S. company now. It's called Gal Media, LLC. And I also work locally. So most of my clients are actually international, and I sort of do a couple of things. So one thing that I do is I have clients and I help them with their internet marketing campaigns. Like in general, I'm sort of a holistic marketer. And because I've just done so many things, and also everywhere I go I like to do a lot of things. I hate to focus just on one thing. So my main focus is always on SEO, but I also do a lot of social media, of course, and email marketing, video marketing is very strong, and all kinds of, and now publishing as well. So I have clients that I help consult with for their internet marketing, and then I'm also training people and also mentoring people on publishing now, nonfiction and fiction works to Kindle, and marketing their Kindle books. So it's very exciting.
So what made you start your company and give up the paid traveling by the other companies?
Oh, I didn't give up my traveling.
No, paid traveling.
Paid traveling. I was never really concerned about who's paying for the traveling. It's always fun to travel when someone else is paying, but then you're always on their dime. So I actually think that it's even cooler to travel like on your own dime. And that's also a sign of success. If I can go and take a trip and go to a conference, then, that's awesome. So yeah, but I am traveling less probably than I would like to, because I do own an online business and I do need to, take care of a whole bunch of stuff. So I do, but I also have family in the U.S. and I come to the U.S. at least twice a year, and I meet lots of people, and I always like to check out what's the next conference that I have. For example, Margie, who's on the Hangout, I've met in Connecticut. And when I went to visit Howie Schwartz for a workshop, so that was really cool. So everywhere I go, I make some connections, and I try to keep those connections. People that I'm naturally drawn to me. Usually, we keep in touch. I can't hear you.
Sorry, there we go.
There we go.
So. What I hear you saying is that part of what you love to do is travel. But aside of that, you sound a little techy, biology and pharmaceutical and Linux, and now you're doing more coaching and training. Where's your passion, and how did you find it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I am a geek. And I wore my geeky glasses. I was deciding which glasses I should wear, and I went with my geeky glasses. So yeah, I'm definitely a geek. I'm I'm a bookworm. I'm a geek. I was never, like a cheerleader type kind of person. Like, that's just not me. So anyone else who is, not accepted to the cheerleading team, you've got a future. Don't worry. But really,
a good future.
Yeah, great future.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are interested in a lot of things, and so one of the things that I'm very interested in, like many people probably my age, is personal development. And several years ago, I became a life coach as well, but I didn't actually make a full practice of it. I actually use these skills in my coaching, in my mentoring, and in my life in general. So I've got a lot of friends who are personal coaches. Co-active coaches is the method that I learned, but I'm not an active life coach. That is very interesting to me. As for publishing and writing, I've been writing stuff since I was a kid. And in all my work experience, especially when I was creating training departments for big high-tech companies, I was creating training materials. So I was probably one of the first users of Snagit and Camtasia, and I'm talking about in the 90s. And I reintroduced myself to them when I started to do training online. And so, yeah, I do more marketing stuff, which I actually never thought that I would do. And what happened was that my last job in the medical device industry was actually for a UK consulting firm. And I was doing a job that I had never done before. And I was kind of freaked out about how am I going to do this job, because my job was to do business development for an entire country. And, you know, I just did what I knew best. I used my connections and I cultivated my connections, and basically my number one quality is that I'll just go at something and persevere. And I remember selling 10 projects in a very short time span, and each project was worth $250,000. And no one had ever told me to sell anything before, because I grew up in a very academic household where selling is bad and marketing is evil and, you know, that kind of thing. So suddenly when I started selling these big projects and I felt the adrenaline and I realized that not all selling is bad and that actually salespeople probably make more money than other people, I decided, well, I should learn some, you know, copywriting. I should learn some marketing. I should really get into this stuff, because obviously I can do it. I just need to polish it. So I did spend several years learning just everything I can, reading everything I can, following as many people as I could, you know, to hone my skills and really get into the marketing world, which I love it. So I'm not sorry I did.
So is your passion more coaching, or is it more selling?
It's not selling. Yeah, it's definitely not the selling. The selling is sort of the after effect, and probably the selling, like in the online world, is a more complex thing in terms of, you know, making a direct sale. But I think that people who buy stuff from me or who want to book time with me are usually people that get to know me and they see my style and they see that I'm really no hype and that my genuine interest is really to help people. And everything I've done is really to make a difference. So, you know, whether I was helping people with training, whether I was helping develop a medical device that helped save lives, and, you know, whether I'm helping people now improve their marketing and publishing, I'm still helping people. And so that's my passion, really, is to connect with people and to help them.
And I have to say, from my point of view, I've been working with Shira for about 2 months, I think. And we've done a webinar together, and what's really interesting is that I would explain something about Google+, and Shira will just rephrase it. And the way she has of explaining stuff, you know, I would go and do hand gestures, and Shira would give it a name. So you definitely have a way of making things look very simple and very easy to understand. And also you go down to the basics, which is very, for me, it's really good because I'm all over the place. So your style is very much, Shira asks questions rather than just tell you what you need to do. And it makes you think about stuff you never thought to stop and think about. It's great. So Shira, what is a typical day in the life of Shira Gal?
Well, my typical day is really, you know, I get up and I see my kids to school. Then I go out and I have a coffee, and I'm addicted to espresso. So I have a really big coffee, and I usually, and that's my time really to wake up, to walk my dog, and I live 10 minutes away from the beach. So we usually take a walk, and on good days that I have a little bit more time, we'll take a walk to the beach, and I'll just stand there and take a look at the beach and stuff. Gorgeous view, and then clear my head, come back home. On the way home, I'm already thinking about, you know, my stuff I've got lined up for that day. And then I get home and I really go at it until my kids come back from school. I work a split day. Then I spend some time with them. I give them lunch and I hang out with them a little bit, you know, do their homework and sort of hang out. And then I go back to work actually for the second part of the evening because of the time difference here. So I've got clients in Australia. I've got clients in Canada. I've got clients in the U.S. So with all the time differences, a big chunk of my work is actually done after the kids go to bed. And that's the time when I'm talking to people, I'm hanging out with people, I'm meeting with clients on Skype, and I'm doing most of my social networking and work that's face-to-face at night, actually. And in the morning is when I'm doing, you know, my inner business stuff, like research, doing my daily tasks, and, you know, posting stuff, creating materials, and so on. So that's a day in the life. And I'm lucky that I have a dog because it makes me get up from the computer and from home and go out and take a walk. So
Sounds like a great life, Shira, especially the ocean part.
The ocean part, yeah.
What's your favorite quote?
Well, my favorite quote is actually in Hebrew, so I don't know. What I did was I took my favorite quote, which was by a very well-known Jewish scholar called Hillel, the old Hillel, and he said, Im en anili mili, which is, if I don't have for myself, then what do I have? And I translated that into Nike's quote of just do it. So I'm a combination of those two quotes.
That's a pretty good twist on it. It's very
nice.
What is the one thing that you would tell someone considering entrepreneurship today? Any words of advice?
Wow. You've got to really be persistent. You know, I mean, if anyone tells you that you're not going to be working hard, or not a question of hard, but if anyone tells you that they've got the system that, you know, you can be lazy and do stuff and you're not going to need to put any effort in it, then just run the other way. Because I think any real successful business online, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of motivation and persistence, really. I think persistence. And also you really need to own up when your idea fails and move on. So I would say persistence and the ability to just move on is the most important.
Are you telling us that there's not overnight success? Is that what you're saying?
Well, every overnight success, you know, usually has about 10 years of toil behind it. That's not the success part.
What is
so yeah, definitely. I mean,
go ahead. I'm sorry. I think there's like a little delay going on. Do you hear me? Do you hear me well?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I hear you perfectly.
What's your most influential time, moment, or person that led you to where you are today?
Oh, that's one of the toughest questions to answer, because I've been influenced by so many, so many people and so many places. You know, having lived in so many places, I've had a lot of influences in my life. So it's sort of it's a very complex question, but I think one of my main influences was one of my CEOs when I was working in a medical device company, and he really gave me the confidence and also the tools to really tackle a whole company. And I think that he best prepared me for the business world in being my own CEO, really.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how teachers, right, take such an important role in our lives.
Yeah, definitely.
And they come in.
You know, I also learn a lot from my dog, and because he is very sensitive, and I have an actually exceptionally beautiful dog, and I'm not just saying it. He actually is just exceptionally beautiful, and he's also called Prince Albert. And the great thing about my dog is that he has a natural smile on his face. So when I walk around outside with him, people naturally greet us with a smile, and it's not because of me, it's because my dog is so gorgeous. And whenever I'm in sort of, you know, maybe not the best mood in the morning, I'm not a morning person, and I'm walking with my dog and suddenly people are smiling at me, you know, it changes my whole day. So he teaches me every day to start my day off positive, and that, you know, smiles bring smiles. So I think, you know, that's a big lesson for me every day as well.
That's true. So what do you think, as a business owner, is the most crucial thing that you have done to grow your business to where it is today? Tell me about getting your first client.
Well, I think the most exciting thing for me in business was actually making my first sale online, because I made it in a CPA network, and it happened at night. And, you know, people tell this story about making sales when they're sleeping, and the first time it happens to you, it is actually really, really exciting. And, you know, and getting that first check, because I started out as an affiliate, and getting that first check, you know, for stuff that you've sold, I mean, that's crazy. And then, you know, when the first person who, you know, bought my book, who I didn't know, like sort of, you know, an unrelated purchase, not someone I said, oh, check out my new book, or someone I didn't know bought my book and left me a review. I mean, I thought that was like a crazy moment. So there's lots of, you know, moments that have really given me the motivation to continue. Probably the most exciting thing for me is that I moderated and I ran an internet marketing forum for a really big guru who I don't want to mention his name because I don't want anyone to buy anything from him because he turned out to be a real bad guy. But what happened was I was there for quite a while, and then when I left, people actually looked me up. And a lot of my first clients came to me from that group of people that they were saying, hey, where'd you go? And we want more of that. And so that was how my business really started.
That's pretty cool, because it sounds like you were just right in the right place, serving people and helping them out, and then people felt the difference that you really care about them, and when you left, they seeked you out.
Yeah, that's true. I think people feel the authenticity, and you know, people who appreciate that are drawn to that. So definitely, yeah.
What are the accomplishments in the career that you're most proud of? Up to date, from now to a few years back, what is the...
My accomplishments? I consider my biggest accomplishment becoming a published author in my career. It's just because it's the most fulfilling and the most exciting thing to see your book go live. I mean, it is. And you know, after 35 edits and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into my first book, for me, that was my biggest moment. I know there have been a lot of different big moments, and a lot of big moments in conferences when I met people and, you know, got great social connections with people. Those were really big moments for me as well, because they made me feel like I was part of a community and part of something. But I think for me the biggest moment was publishing, and that's why since that moment I really haven't cared that much about anything else. So
it is great, and I know, I mean, I'm writing a book. I think I know Chris is writing a book. Chris Long, Margie is in the process. Laverne wanting to do her stuff. So Bess wrote. She co-authored the book. So yes, it is like having a baby, and it takes a lot longer than people think, and a lot more research. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a second, because I want to talk about the course that you're having that is going to make it a little bit easier for everyone. But before that, what's your favorite business or marketing book? And it can't be your own.
No, it's not mine. I actually took it off the shelf because I knew you were going to ask me. And so my favorite book is Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. And the reason I love this book is that it talks about instinct, you know, and trusting your instinct. It basically says that in the first 30 seconds when you meet someone, you take a slice. Your mind takes a slice of information, and that's the most accurate slice of information you're going to get in a thin slice. And then the book also talks about how over time, when you have relationships with people, then you're getting that thicker slice. And I just think it's a fantastic book. I really recommend people read it. It's an international bestseller. It's my personal favorite, and it's got a lot of short little stories in it, which are really easy to read. So that's my favorite book.
Was there any book that you've read that helped you become the author that you are?
Oh, I've read so many books. Oh, my goodness. You know, I think I have to say thank you to the one person who really helped me improve my writing, and his name is Blake, and we worked together, and we wrote a lot of manuals. I had to write quality manuals for medical device companies, and I had to write procedures and stuff, so that was really my training for writing nonfiction. So I've done a lot of technical writing, and so probably through all my technical writing is my best preparation. And also, if I look at the things that I wrote like 2 years ago and today, I mean, my writing has improved so much. So it's, you know, just have at it and get real feedback, real criticism. Let people see your work, let people edit your work, and eventually you'll improve. You know, if you incorporate that feedback. You've got to have no ego when you're writing.
You also have a different style of writing. It's very conversational. It's very easy to understand. Did you take that from someone? Were you influenced by someone for that style of writing?
You know, it's just me being me. And I can be really stuffy if I want to, but it's such an effort, and so I don't like to do that. I mean, I think, you know, I've written sample chapters where I write it in 3 different tenses or 3 different ways, and people always like the conversational approach. So
would you say that's a recommended writing style for people who want to get read easily or become bestsellers?
You know, I think it depends what you're writing about. because I mean, it really depends if it's fiction, if it's, a mystery, what era you're in. There's so many things that affect. But if we're talking about nonfiction books, then there are really two types of nonfiction books. One is like an instructional how-to book, and the other one is a more conversational story book. And I think that if you mix the two, I think the best nonfiction books that teach you how to do something actually have a combination of both. So they'll tell you a story, then they'll show you how to do something, and then maybe they'll have sort of a discussion about, why this was so important and how I used it in different contexts. And that's why one of my favorite types of writing is actually webinar transcriptions and interviews that I use and sort of add on another nonfiction spin to that, because the biggest feedback that I've gotten from people who follow me is that they learn the most when it's a discussion. When they can listen to somebody else's discussion and hear real questions. And I always show how I do stuff, because I always find that when you're doing things is when you're getting the questions. So like in Hebrew you would say ze lo chokhmah. There's no smart thing to do something if you don't do it. I mean, how am I going to discuss something if I don't do it myself, right? So that's sort of my motto, is like, I'm going to do it and I'm going to sort of test it and I'll show you how I did it. So, and on our webinar for when we did about the Google Plus profile, a lot of people wrote to me and said that they learned so much from that webinar, because I was actually doing stuff and sort of fumbling along like a beginner, and so they could identify with me to see, oh, I didn't get to be this guru, in a day. It takes a lot of practice.
It does. It does. What is the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and what did you learn from it?
The biggest mistake? I made a lot of biggest mistakes. The biggest mistake I made was the first big internet marketing course that I bought, actually from an Israeli. I hate to say it. And it was about AdWords. And it got me banned from AdWords for life. I got a really nasty letter from Google. Sorry, Google, but your customer support is really nasty. And because that letter was so nasty, I actually decided never to spend money advertising on Google again. So I had to become an SEO, and that made me become an SEO.
And brought you to Amazon?
And Amazon is the king of traffic, the king of search, the king of commerce. And I love Amazon. Amazon is fantastic, and it's incredible to see how many really celebrities are on Amazon and are not using Amazon to its full potential. There are a lot of features, and if you pay attention to the details, actually, you can get a lot out of Amazon in terms of traffic to your website, in terms of sales, reputation, authority, and just, oodles of traffic. Really, if you get to know the system well, you can get so much out of it.
So let's dive into this a little bit. Give us a few tips about Amazon, what people who just getting started with Amazon need to pay attention to.
Cool, yeah, Amazon the beast. I like to call Amazon the beast. So when you get started with the beast, hopefully you'll join me in my course where I'm going to teach you how to do that. But I'm not trying to sell anything now, but when you get on Amazon, what you really want to do is learn the ropes of Amazon before you publish anything. So like with anything, you need to learn how to do research. And Amazon is a little bit different in terms of how it works. So you have to understand how competition is measured in Amazon. What are the measurements of success? So Amazon is commerce-oriented. Everyone who comes to Amazon is ready to buy. And that's what's so great about telling people to find you on Amazon, because on Amazon they're going to buy something, right? So why shouldn't they buy your book or your product and so on? And so when you go to Amazon, the first thing you want to notice is to do some research. Some category research is one of the main laws of the land of Amazon. You need to think about what you're going to be publishing, and if you already know sort of what you're publishing or what your book is about, then it's easier. And if you don't know, then you really need to sort of start from scratch. But let's say, just for an example, okay? So the first thing I published on Kindle I did as a test because I wanted to check out a whole bunch of formatting stuff and to see how things work. So because I hate cats so much, God forgive me, I actually published a manual for cats. And it's how to build a little cat garden to keep your cat out of your house. And you know, I love animals, so it's not personal against cats. It's just their freaky eyes. They freak me out. I always feel like the devil is sort of looking at me there. But I made it organic, and I got an expert who actually told the story of his cat and so on. And for that, I say practice. You know, practice with something maybe not in your own name. Your first book is not going to be your best publication. Okay, it's not going to be your masterpiece. It's not going to be War and Peace. And it's not going to be Blink either. So I did that to really check out how the Kindle works and all kinds of little things. So I would start actually by, if you're in the nonfiction field, I would start with a tips document. And you can see a really good example with that if you look me up on Amazon, Shira Gal, and you see I published, it's a pretty short document that's got great information in it. It's called 11 Essential Tips to Making More Sales Publishing with Kindle. And in there I go over 11 points. I actually go over a lot more than 11, but main points on Amazon that you should start off with. So definitely you should read that, but you want to understand what your competition is doing. When there are so many things to look at, and the main thing about Amazon and the strongest tool in Amazon are the reviews. So the first thing you want to do is look at the negative reviews, not the positive reviews. You want to look at the negative reviews. So if you look at a book and it's your competitor, okay, you want to see what people aren't happy about because you can do it better. Okay, so always look at the negative reviews, and Amazon customers are awesome because they tell you what they think, and they don't spare any words, you know. And even reviews that seem to be positive can often really be very negative. And in my course, I actually just show extensively how I'm just trolling through Amazon, looking at products and researching products and looking at the reviews and sort of getting to the mindset of how to look at these things and what are people really saying, and getting the lingo of that market and the understanding who these people are, what their demographic is. You can get so much information and insights for your market from Amazon, from the reviews themselves. So I think that's the #1 thing for anyone who's wanting to publish on Kindle, is to understand how categories, excuse me, understand how categories are built, and then also understand what people are saying in the negative reviews. Take a look at the positive reviews if you want to see what you can get to, but you really want to look at the negative reviews first, and that's the #1.
Do you also do a keyword search on Amazon?
I do keyword research on Amazon, and initially the reason I actually started publishing on Kindle was I did an SEO test, and I wanted to see if I could rank for a phrase by using it in the title of my Kindle book and without any promotion. And guess what? The day after my cat book went live, I was #1 on Google in the UK and in the US for wheatgrass cat garden. Okay? A lot of people are interested in wheatgrass for their cats. And it's healthy. It's healthy. It's like a superfood for cats. And biologist as I am. And if you don't have to kill them, just keep them out of the house and let them be healthy. So so that I started to do that for SEO, and to be honest, then I started to get deeper and deeper into how keywords really work on Amazon, and to really understand, where do I want to get my traffic from? Do I want to get my traffic from Google? Am I focusing on Google, or is Amazon enough? This is a really big question. We could spend a whole hour just talking about that, but I always like to go for broke, so I like to go for everything. So I do keyword research both on Google. You want to take a high traffic keyword phrase on Google, and you want to incorporate that in your Kindle book title, and you want to put that in several other places on your Kindle book product page as well. And then you also want to do some research on Amazon. And keyword research on Amazon is not like Google at all. It's totally different. Because when you start searching on Amazon, it's actually giving you a contextual match. So like if I'm searching for cat and I type in C, it's going to give me CA, and then all the books that start by CA like that by bestsellers. So one of the big tactics for people who are publishing with Kindle is to actually use the title of somebody else's best-selling book within their title, or at least the beginning of it. because then Amazon is actually going to display you in the suggested search right underneath that bestseller when people are searching for the bestseller book. So,
how long can your title be?
Your title can be very long. I don't think that really long titles are that beneficial. There are other factors that really have to do with how you're going to sell on Amazon. The title isn't one of them. So the title is to get them there. It's not going to sell your book. Your title. Your title should have at least 5 words in it, and possibly up to 10 even. One thing to note, though, when you do publish your book is that Amazon is not going to put your entire title of your book in the book URL. It's sort of going to sample part of the words. So if you're going for a keyword phrase, that whole keyword phrase is not going to appear in the URL.
So how do you do that? Blair is asking, how do you do the keyword search on Amazon? Is that right, Blair? Yes.
Well, I mean, I could spend a long time sort of talking about it and showing it to you. So just very superficially, let's say, there are different types of research that I would do on Amazon for keywords. So the first thing, your first keyword is always going to be your category. Okay? So, and there's lots and lots of strategies about categories on Amazon because a category can be a high-level category, okay, like pets, right? But then underneath pets, you could have lots and lots of subcategories. And the way Amazon works, you always need to remember, is about how many books you're selling relative to the other books in your category. So my advice to people is to start small in a category that they can actually expand and be relevant on all levels of that category.
So actually go up rather than go down.
You only want to go up, honey. Up is the only way to go. You're starting from 0. But no, actually, when you publish on Amazon, the first time you publish a new publication, they're going to give you a couple of days of free promotion because they're going to put you on a special feed that is the new publications feed. And so getting back to the keyword research, you really need to know your categories, and those category titles are going to be part of your keywords, and they're going to be part of your book description. And if you don't do that, you're just leaving money on the table. And that's something that nobody will really tell you. They'll tell you category research is very important, but if you really want to be smart, then have some of those hierarchies in your product page, and then you'll be really ultra relevant and so on. And start small. Be the king of your category. I mean, my eldest daughter is now in 6th grade, and she's so upset because next year she's going to be the youngest again in high school. So, enjoy that moment when you're starting out, because before you know it, you're going to be at the top of your rung and looking to, the next level.
That's true.
The next thing you want to do, though, to research is then just to also utilize the Amazon search window, start searching by titles, and see what other books you have. Check out your competitor titles, search for them, see what else comes up. So that's another thing. The third way of searching on Amazon, which is the best way, which nobody tells you about, is to search by tags. And Amazon has an entire search engine that's based around tags. And you can actually go into a book and click on a tag and assign it a tag, which is sort of like a bookmark, in Dig or in Delicious, like what you would think. And you're really associating books by tags, but you can search other people's tags. So let's say I search internet marketing on Amazon or Google Plus on Amazon. It's going to give me a list in the search results of all the books that somebody tags as related to Google, and you'd be surprised, what you find. So this is actually a very important way to research Amazon, and you can get a lot of insights that way through the tag search.
My last question. Regarding Kindle, and then it seems like we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to open it up for questions, is do you recommend writing your book only in Kindle or hardcover as well?
It really depends on your book. I recommend starting off in Kindle, and I recommend also not publishing on other platforms, and I'll tell you why in a minute. A lot of people say, well, why you focus only on Kindle? You could be going to Barnes & Noble, Nook, and you can go to Smashwords and get published everywhere and on iTunes and everywhere, and, why aren't you, got those blinky eyes on? And I have a specific strategy, and I'll tell you why, because when you go big, if you make a mistake, it's really hard to take that back. It's very hard to make a correction. It's very hard to move fast. And moving fast is part of making money. So I don't like to go big, and to be honest, Amazon is more than enough. If you can master Amazon, you really don't need to, to be doing that right off. So yeah, definitely go to iTunes, go to other platforms, maybe not Apple right now because they're being sued, but go to other platforms, but only after you're really confident with your book, only after it's gone through a few revisions, only after you've gotten a lot of feedback, if you've gotten enough reviews and candid reviews to know that your product is not going to undergo another revision unless the market crazily changes or something like that, right? And you're confident that this, you're moving on to your next project, you're definitely not going to be improving this book anymore, then it's time to sort of let loose and go on to other platforms. But I think that for most people who are beginning their publishing journey or have one or two books, it's premature to jump into, like I call that, the rest of the world, because Amazon is fantastic, and most people have an Amazon account. So,
can you take down a book from Amazon if you don't?
Absolutely. You can unpublish your book. You can edit your book after it's published. You can actually edit your book at any time. You can upload a new file. Like I can publish my book, and then I can realize that, oh my goodness, on Kindle, like everything I didn't realize, but when I saw it on the actual Kindle, oh, this paragraph, it looks terrible. I can fix that, re-upload my book. It'll be live within 48 hours. I can adjust the pricing on my book. I can change the book cover. I can change anything about my book, and that's what's so fantastic about Kindle Direct Publishing platform.
So actually, you should feel very comfortable because the mistakes will be learning experiences rather than permanent mistakes that you can't fix.
Yes, and that's the beauty of e-publishing, of digital publishing, is that it's a digital medium, and you can update your work. There are a few glitches in the Amazon system that you need to know about when you do update your work. Because, for example, if you downloaded your book or you bought your book, you will be your first sale. Everyone get over it. You're going to buy your book first to see what that sale goes through. Everyone says, should I buy my book? I shouldn't buy my book. People give themselves 4 stars. Give yourself 5 bloody stars and buy your book and be proud. And you can't review your book on Amazon, so that doesn't mean on Amazon, but elsewhere. Yeah, you can change your book, but if you update the book and then re-upload it to Amazon, it's not going to update on your Kindle to the last version. You actually need to email Amazon and ask them to retransmit your book to you, to your Kindle device or to your PC reader or so on. And that's something you need to know because, for example, you may write a book and someone may buy your book, and then since they bought your book, you have maybe revised your book, okay? And then they may be giving you feedback on something that you've already fixed. So you need to be aware of that and tell people, listen, thank you so much for your feedback. I'm so glad you caught that. I've received this feedback from a number of people, and I've actually taken the time to improve this aspect of my book. I know that you've purchased my book. Please email Amazon and have them retransmit the book to you so that you can, see the better version or so on. So that is sort of a drawback. Now about printing, yeah, you will need to print your book eventually in some capacity. And one of the first people that I helped publish a book wrote a fiction book. And a lot of their friends in the UK, they said, where can I buy it? And they didn't want to, because Kindle is relatively new, a lot of old school people would rather go and buy your book. So definitely you can use CreateSpace or print on demand. Eventually you probably will end up selling some physical copies. But I would go for that if people are asking for it. So see what the market is demanding and really have a lot of, if you are publishing to Kindle, always have a really good video on your website explaining to people how to download your book, how to view your book, do you need a Kindle? These are basic questions that everyone keeps asking. So make sure that you show people how easy it is to consume your book and that you don't have to buy a physical book anymore.
Excellent. Excellent information. I'm going to open it up for questions. If anyone here, we have 10 more minutes. So if you guys want to unmute your mics, and I'm going to see if there are any questions in the stream.
Awesome.
Laverne, go ahead.
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, like I said, I'm writing my first book. It's a true story, and it does have the word stroke in it. I pray it doesn't come up under, people making golf strokes, but more like someone having a stroke. Because there was a neuroscientist who had a stroke, and she talks about the same one as well, except that she had to have surgery for hers. So the word stroke is in there in my title. It's called The Other Stroke, because I didn't know there was another kind of stroke until I had one, or I had two. Yeah. And I've been writing it on Google+, and I'm at a stage right now where Shira, my cousin, she's a neuroscientist, and we're trying to make all the little pieces that I've written on Google Plus into stories before even trying to get it to a publisher.
Okay.
And can you recommend someone who will be a good publisher to, contact and send my work to? Not a publisher. I'm sorry. Good editor, copy editor. That's what I mean.
Yeah, because I was going to say you are your best publisher in this.
Yeah, I know. Copy editor. Sorry, copy editor. Because I'm not the best writer, but yeah.
No problem. I just want to answer you maybe for two. You have two questions there, I think. One is about your title, and one is about the proofing and editing of your book, which is a really big question, and it's something that you really should take very seriously, because the first thing I'll tell you is you want to put out a quality piece of work. This is your name, it's your reputation. A lot of people say, oh, publishing with Kindle, I'll just put up some PLR, I'll mess it around a little, I'll just do something to get published. Do not do that, because this is your name. This is the way people view you. If your writing sucks, they're probably going to think you're not that, not that great. So you definitely want to get professional editing. So first of all, for your book name, even though your book is about having a stroke, the word stroke does not necessarily have to appear in your book title. Okay. It could, if you want it to appear in your book title. It might not be the first 5 words of your title. It might be the secondary part of your title. Okay, for example. It may appear in your book description, but not in your title. So you have a lot of options. And what you want to do is you want to figure out who is really going to be buying your book. Are they going to be medical professionals, or is this a fiction book that's inspiring people? So you need to understand the demographics of who's going to be buying your book. Best way to do demographic research is through Facebook ads. I know we're on Google+, and I don't buy Facebook ads, but you can actually create a dummy ad and do a lot of demographic research on Facebook and know how old people are, and so on. So that's a really good way. You can also check out sort of similar type genre books and see what people are discussing them, where they're being discussed, and sort of get a good idea of who's reading those books there. The good thing about publishing is that there are so many forums and very high page rank sites for everyone who's interested in SEO that discuss publishing, where you can definitely talk about your book, you can ask people what they think, you can see what people are saying about similar books, and you can have a link back to your website and your book and your profile and Google Plus in there, and enjoy the benefits of that. And a lot of people will review your work and so on. So about the title, you really need to see who your demographic is and what you want to be found for. So fiction book is not so much keyword driven, but it may be, there may be a very book in the medical field that was very popular, revolving around strokes or something like that. You may want to incorporate some of those elements in your title or your description. Personally, copywriting is not my strongest suit, so I actually hired a copywriter to write my product description on Kindle, and that's really a sales page. You can put 4,000 characters in there to sell your book. Lots of people don't use that real estate, and it is crawled. So, I mean, you want to definitely do a lot of research and get as much in there as possible and make that writing as good as possible. If you can't do it yourself, get someone else to write it for you. Second part of your question about the professional proofing and editing, in your case, you need someone from the medical field, so you need to have someone who has understanding in your book. So you need to know someone who knows medical writing, or who knows the medical profession, or who is a doctor, at the very least, I would say, to read your book, to make sure that it's correct. But then that person may not be the best writer, have the writing style. So you probably need a double proofing. One is on the technical side to make sure that everything that you're writing is correct, because you don't want to represent any incorrect information in your book. And the other one is going to be for writing style. And there's places where you can find people. I like to look in universities and find students that are journalist students or are studying writing, and hire them, because they actually need the money. They're very motivated. They can put it on their resume. You can thank them inside your book. You can, give them a mention. Can help them get more work later. Can help their career, and they're going to do a good job for you. So I would go for that. I would also support single moms who enjoy writing and proofing. I would look for that. You might find a mom who's an ex-medical professional, like myself. I'm not interested in proofing, but you may find someone like that. So I would definitely look for that type of profile. And so I would look in universities, first of all, and then I would also look on sites like VWorker, Elance, and stuff like that.
Would you use them for research as well?
Yeah, you can definitely hire people to do research, but you can hire as many people to do as much research as you want, but ultimately it's up to you to actually go through that research and decide for yourself what's going to be important, what you want to highlight, and then anything that you actually take from that research, I would double check and verify to make sure that that person really got the best source of information. So it really depends on who's doing your research. Personally, I don't trust other people to do my research. But
well, I do my own research. That part is not my issue.
Yeah.
And I do, and for the science and making sure the science is correct, I can do that on my own. And as I said, my cousin, she's a neuroscientist, so she can check it as well. And some of the people that are following my work on Google Plus are also neuroscientists.
Yeah.
So they understand.
What I would suggest that you do is actually get on Google Plus, and I'll support you in that. And on some of my pages, I'll post it for as well. That we're looking for people who are interested in doing editing and proofing for books. And I'm sure that a lot of people could use that work, and people will recommend people. Let's use Google Plus to find you someone to proof your book for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Laverne, I'll send you an editor, a very good editor, a friend of mine.
Okay.
I'll message you.
All right. Thank you.
I have a question.
You. Go ahead, Blair.
Yeah, it's also related to Laverne's. Okay, when you're naming a title of a true story versus a fiction, do you have any suggestions about that? I mean, should you name your true story so that almost like as if people, when they're searching for a fiction, will also find it, or should it be specifically in its own category?
Well, I'm not sure what I know. I understand when you say true story, what do you mean?
Like someone's life story, I guess. If someone's writing your life story,
a biography.
Like a biography.
Okay.
It would be, my wife's, but she's deceased now, and I wanted to write the story of her fight with cancer and all that kind of stuff. Is there a way is that its own category?
Yes, it is, actually. You've just walked right into that one.
Okay.
I'm sorry to hear about your wife, by the way.
Thank you. It's been a while, but it's still fresh on our memories.
Yeah, well, personally, my mother died of cancer 18 years ago, so I can definitely relate.
Seems like it.
Yeah, I can definitely relate, and, you just touched my heart very deeply. I think it's beautiful that you're going to publish for her. Yeah, biographies, autobiographies, they're a category of their own, but not necessarily in the in the navigation, but definitely start searching through autobiographies and see how people are naming them and decide what message you want to bring across. But you may want to use some drama or some shock and awe in your title and so on. So all the elements of good copywriting would probably go in there, as well. So I would do some dual research that way, and feel free to contact me if you'd like. We can take a look together and sort of see how that looks on Amazon.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Any other question, guys? No? So I have a last question for Shira.
Okay.
And I have a guess of what the answer might be. And the question is if you were not doing what you're doing right now, if you were not working for yourself, being coaching and Kindle and SEO, what would you be?
Do you know what my answer is going to be? Because I don't know what my answer is going to be. I have lots of answers.
What would it be?
My dream was to host the Amazing Race show. I always thought that's the dream job, man.
I wanted to be in one.
I know, and I actually met Israel has their own version of the Amazing Race, and actually the host lives in my neighborhood. I keep meeting him at the store.
Awesome.
And so I've always wanted to say, how'd you get that job? So
tell me before we leave, Shira, about your seminar.
Okay, so I will be posting about it. I don't have my sales page, isn't up yet, but basically I'm going to be doing a couple of things to help people get published. One of them is going to be with you, where we're going to do a series of hangouts on air that are going to be free for everyone to attend. And on these hangouts, I'm going to be walking you through and helping you out in publishing your first book to Kindle. And we're going to start at the very beginning. So even though we already sort of had a private lesson, we're going to repeat some of that stuff. So we're really going to learn how to research, how to outline a book, how to actually get it written, write it, get it edited, so on, all the different steps up to publishing. And then I have a course that's called the Kindle Marketing Machine. It's currently closed, but it's going to reopen. And it's a course that has a lot of video training, step-by-step, what to do from the minute you're published, once you're live on Amazon, because once you're live on Amazon is actually when your work really starts. And there's lots and lots of stuff that you should be doing. So that's called the Kindle Marketing Machine. And if you're interested in this stuff, please sign up for my mailing list on publishingwithkindle.com. And I will be sending out emails from there about all these events. And so these hangouts that we're going to have, they're going to be accessible to everyone, but then they're going to go into a bigger course that's going to be a publishing and writing boot camp that's going to have more videos, more webinars, and more private attention for people, and that isn't going to be free. But we wanted to make some of this free because there's so many people that need to be publishing, and to see how easy it is, and to really allow people to join in on the process and always learn from other people as well. So I hope you guys join in.
Thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks, Shira. This is great. I'm going to share this information, of course, about the Kindle marketing course. It's going to be on air, like Shira said, so you all can watch, be in it, and ask questions. And next week, I believe we are talking to Margie. Right, Margie, on Thursday? No, we are not. You know what's funny? Someone, I'm not going to mention names, but erased my entire interviewing calendar, and now I am lost for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, I have no idea who's jumping in.
I believe
I thought Margie was the next one. No? Margie, I can't hear you.
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Can you hear me, May 3rd?
I do. Okay. Well, May 3rd, Margie, and we'll find out who's next week, and I'll let you know.
May 3rd.
Okay, well,
Could I say one more thing?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I just want to acknowledge Randy Hilarski. Thanks for being on. I'm sure you don't know this, but you're the first person I followed on Google+.
Cool.
I didn't even know you were going to be on. I'm so honored. So I thought that was really cool to see you here. You're the first person that I checked out their profile and their
Hi, Blair.
It's really cool. So thanks, and this is how friendships are being made, so this is awesome. And I will come hang out with us again next week with someone, and I'll see you then. Have a great week, everybody.
Make it great.
Yes, make it great.
Bye, all.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Thought.